Yeah, welcome to my channel. To answer the question outright, no, they didn't. Honestly, if you know the way CP3 is and how he's been over the years, I don't think they did him wrong. I think it's more so to the point like what he did to them. This is a guy, if you know well enough all the rumors and such, this is a guy that pretty much loves to undermine coaches and whatnot. Like he's all about himself. And this is a case where, like, let's be honest, you have Ty Lue and you have Jeff Van Gundy. Their resumes alone should be enough to garner the respect of all the players. CP3, yeah, he's built his reputation and he's built his resume as well too. But at the same time, they're the coaches, not him. If he wants to be a coach, he could have retired last year and then come in and coach a team and whatnot. Basically, reality is it's like these two guys have earned the respect that they needed. That he should not have been undermining them. He was undermining him. Let's be honest. He was undermining him considerably at that point. He was probably changing plays on the floor, the schemes that Van Gundy and Lou came up with, and basically he was changing it on the fly with the team. And a team member basically, young guys are like, you know what, CP3 knows what he's talking about. Let's do it. Let's listen to him over the coaches, basically. Even though the coaches know what they're doing, Harden, I think, is maybe the only one that wasn't listening entirely, because I think Harden respects Jeff Van Gundy to the point like he understands. Whereas CP3 is like, you know what? As great as they are, as good as the resume they have, I know more than them. I've been on the floor so long that I know what's going on. I can recognize defenses and I can recognize schemes of what's going on. Reality is, it's like he should have talked to them. It's possible. It's possible he did try to talk to Ty Lue and Van Gundy. They probably were so egotistically up there that their ego probably kicked in. It was like, you know what? You're just a player. Shut up. Where in reality is like, if he had some feedback and they were not listening, I can understand it from that perspective. But at the same time, this is Ty Lue and Jeff Van Gundy. I don't think they would not take feedback, because let's be honest, Van Gundy has always taken feedback from all the players at this point. And reality is like it's more so to the point where like it comes down to when CP3 posted up that Instagram leeway, the definition of leeway. I think it's more so the point where like if he put down feedback, it would have been a different story. But the fact that he said leeway, it means that sometimes coaches give their players some leeway to like change the play a little bit, but not too much. This is the problem is like CP3 had a lot. He wasn't on the floor as much, but he was changing plays on the bench, telling the players that were going onto the floor, is like, hey, you don't have to listen to them. Like, I think you guys need to do this. And it's possible Ty Lue and Van Gundy probably told him a couple of times. There's not one time. There's probably multiple times they've told CP3 is like, look, shut up and let us coach. Reality is like probably never happened. And the players probably were respecting CP3 a little bit more and listening to him at that point. I'm surprised not hearing from Blake Griffin, because like I saw the Amazon Prime thing with the commentary and such. I'm surprised Blake Griffin didn't go into more details. He played it a little bit more PC. Quite honestly, he played it a little bit PC, and I think it's more so the fact is like I don't think he wanted to anger the fan base out there, because I think he knows full well about CP3, and I think he didn't really want to say much. It'll be interesting to see what Doc Rivers says as well too, because like I would love to hear what Doc Rivers' thoughts were, because honestly, Doc Rivers being the coach of CP3 back then with the Clippers, I want to kind of see what his thoughts were as well too. We'll hear out that, but other players saying what they said is like, yeah, they did him dirty. Clippers did him dirty. I think the way it was done, yeah, it could have been done a little bit better. It could have been done like the night prior or the morning after, or like just like, hey, look, man, we want you to sit on the bench, but like we don't want you to say a thing. Um, but this is probably management sending a message to everyone. It's like, hey, look, we got coaches and Ty Lue and Van Gundy and the coaches basically sending a message like, we're the ones that are leading this team. We're the ones that's managing you guys. You guys, if you want to be on this team, you got to listen to us. If not, get your ass out of here. And that's probably what was going on basically at that point. So with the way it was, yeah, it could have been done better. Now the question is, how much of this relationship has been strained for CP3 and the Clippers, where the Clippers want to retire his number? Possible, because like let's be honest, CP3 was probably the greatest Clipper there is right now as of this moment. With Kawhi Leonard, it looked like a big mistake on their part, and the Clippers recognize it now. Like they made a mistake signing Kawhi the way they did, and the way they traded everything for a PG, Paul George. They realized it was a huge mistake. They lost SGA, and look what happens now. Like Oklahoma, like they have the capital at this point, and like the Clippers are probably destined to never win a championship. I hate to say it, but it looks like they're destined never to win a championship unless things go turn around considerably. But reality is like Kawhi Leonard was a mistake. The Spurs are looking like savants now, getting rid of letting him go. Management probably realized, like, you know what? Popovich probably was isolating us from seeing the true Kawhi Leonard because he was probably getting injured, but I think the team was doing so well that we weren't seeing Kawhi, the way he was. I think Kawhi definitely was a star, but I think Popovich kind of shielded us from seeing what, Kawhi Leonard's true nature was like getting more injury prone because Kawhi Leonard was more injury prone. And I think San Antonio knew it full well, and they're like, you know what, let's let him go. And I think Kawhi is like, you guys are like doing me dirty, like screw you guys. And they're like, all right, fine, go, see ya, bye. Traded him off. Made absolute sense. Granted, he won the championship with Toronto once he was traded, but reality is, like from San Antonio's perspective, looks like they made the right choice. Honestly, that's like, let's be honest, I think they made the right choice. Um, Time will only tell with Nico when it comes to Luka. Basically, if Luka Doncic, not this year but the following seasons, if he starts getting more injury prone, maybe Nico looks a little like a savant at that point. But reality is, who knows what it is. But coming back to basically CP3, I let's be honest, CP3 is no Jordan, and again, the other aspect is Michael Jordan. He knew how to control players, but I don't think he changed the scheme on the floor unless it was mandatorily necessary. And I think, like Phil Jackson respected his insights as well as some of his players' insights, take them as feedback, and then try to adjust and make it, like, hey, look, what do you guys see? Let me know. In this situation, I think, basically, Van Gundy, Ty Lue basically was like asking these players, like, what do you guys see? They're saying one thing, CP3 seeing something else. And rather than like, we're conveying that message to the coaches, he's probably like, you know what, screw this, I'm a better I should be a coach, I'll tell you guys to do this basically, and then go from there at that point. So I don't know, that could be the case. This is my personal opinion, but reality is like, CP3, good at career he is. I don't think he earned that right to like make those massive changes on the fly on the court coming from the bench to these players. He should have conveyed messages and given feedback to the coaches themselves and said, hey, look, I'm seeing this and this. And like they might have said, if these guys were not listening, okay, you know what? Shut your mouth, sit down, and just like, kind of like complain about it a little bit to the media at that point. Like, let the media know a little bit. You could kind of let it leak out. Like, hey, look, we're seeing these things. These coaches have too much of an ego. But this is CP3. He has an ego as well, too. So let's be honest, he has that ego. I just say this, but like, right now, what it is, you might as well just sit back and just collect your paycheck at home and be with your family. Because honestly, I don't know how you reconcile from this. Only thing I can think of is basically come next year, if you want to retire the right way, maybe go and join the Lakers. Go across the 405 and join the Lakers. Retire with LeBron, basically. Because LeBron, this might be his final year, but most likely next year is most likely his final. Next year will be his final year. Go ahead and join him, basically, and maybe have a run at the championship. If they win, great. If they don't, well, you retire, and then you can retire as a Laker at that point. I don't know. We'll see. But any situation, I think this is a case where basically, like I said, did the Lakers do CP3 wrong? In hindsight, I want to say, in hindsight, we might see something down the line. But right now, as at this moment, I don't think so. If CP3, knowing what we know about CP3 and how we know he acts on the court as well as off the courts, specifically in the locker room and such, it's possible. I think they did what they did was correct to send a message, basically. And I think other teams are going to start seeing that as well too, and they're going to start saying, like, you know what, hey, like, we can't have all these superstar players creating, like basically be the managers or head coaches. I mean, you're seeing that with LeBron. Let's be honest, LeBron's kind of like trying to drive the plays a little bit. I think Redick is basically getting tired of it at this point. I think that's why they made the trade for Luka, which made sense, to shut LeBron up a little bit. But at the same time, like, it's more so to the point, it's like, you know what, I can mold Luka to where he is. LeBron's trying to get that in there a little bit, and you could see that. But at the same time, I don't know. But LeBron, I mean, has LeBron earned that right to make the changes on the floor? It's possible, yeah. I mean, like, Redick probably realizes, like, hey, you know what you're seeing in real time, go make the changes. I trust you on that. I give you leeway for that. But if you're going deviating away from my entire playbook that I've devised, I think that's where he's going to get pissed off. And I think that's what we were seeing a lot. And I think LeBron had no respect for a lot of the coaches back then when he saw the playbooks were never working. I don't think he was providing that feedback to the coach because he had that ego. He's like, I know what I'm doing. I know I should I should be the one creating the plays. But in any case, and that's where I think CP3 was as well too. I think CP3 had that mindset and ego to the point where it's like, I should be driving this. But, like Carmelo Anthony, he was going on past. It's like, yeah, they did him wrong. They should not have done what he did to him. But reality is, it's like, let's be honest, man. If you saw what it is, if CP3 was doing what he was doing and he was undermining Ty Lue and Van Gundy, I mean, honestly, yeah, I think the Clippers were sending a message. They were sending an ultimate message at this point. Reality is, like, I think the Clippers are like, you know what? If you're gonna do this, we don't care. We don't care if our relationship is going straight. If you want to retire as a Clipper, fine, retire as a Clipper. If you don't. We don't care. I think that's what the Clippers are trying to say. The organization is trying to say is basically like, look, we want you as a star, we love you, but at the same time, if you're gonna be this, create this toxic atmosphere, forget you, gone, and we'll try to. Don't be surprised if like the Clippers try to damage his legacy. I won't be surprised if they try to like tarnish his legacy. If not already being tarnished as is, basically. And like look for other players, look for the Clippers and maybe other coaches, former coaches and other former players probably getting down and jumping on the bandwagon to tarnish CP3's legacy. I won't be surprised in 2 or 3 years from now, but time will only tell. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I do respond to them. I do read them all, and I do respond to them all when they warrant a response, especially if it's relevant to the content. If it's questions outside of the content of the video, I'm not going to answer it. Honestly, I'm sorry, but it has to be relevant to the content of the video itself, basically. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, of course, always unembarrassed. Until next time.